front office staff, and so they're getting a crash course in answering phones and dealing with happy taxpayers. So.
How did they make any improvements? There's no way it went up that much.
Yeah. It's I know, I wish that improvement, I wish there was a little bit more explanation, because that's actually one of them is people see improvements and I haven't done anything. Well, we're talking about the structures on your land, not any changes that you've made to them, and it's based on either adjustments that were made if it was in reval or market adjustment based on sales, so.
Well, let's get this show on the road. Remember, we're being recorded and this is going on YouTube, so I guess we could start this and you know everybody here. So you wanna take it and go.
All right, yeah, so the only thing that I was hoping to do this morning is just find out, one, if there are any questions that you may have had through last year's BOEs or getting ready to start this next cycle. See if there are any questions, anything I can help clarify, make a little clearer to avoid any issues in questions, hopefully help you out so we can spend more time helping explain. We deal with taxpayers when they call in, we explain as much as we can. Sometimes we don't get that opportunity beforehand, and so I know sometimes it's nicer to be able to have that time to explain to them, but I was hoping to maybe cut that off a little bit if there were any questions and help explain something to the board that may be a confusion, and to let you know a couple of things that we're dealing with right now. Change of value notices have gotten sent out, and the date on them, the mailer put the wrong date, and so actually extended the overall time by 2 weeks. And so the end of our 30-day appeal period will be the 31st of January. So
That can be interesting.
it is very nice for us in that we have more time to get the information together, and a lot of times we can have a lot of the issues handled or taken care of before the need for an appeal. 30 days sometimes is short on time, and so we just, hey, go ahead and appeal. That way we've got a little more time to get you the information. With these extra couple of weeks, that'll be beneficial in that we have more time to set up to meet with people and to explain any concerns or issues or explain the process a little bit better. We have had last year, right at the tail end of last year, and we're still working with the new software. The new software has created some fun in that it extended out until now that we're sending out change of value notices. Typically, we're September before when we're sending out change of value notices, and now we're into end of December. And so it's definitely pushed things back greatly.
This is appraisal software?
Yes, yep.
Is it from the state?
Is it from the state? No.
Is it county or?
So the softwares are their own private entity, and so there's multiple different ones used by the state of Washington. I think there's 4 different ones depending on which county you're in. Not 100%, but I think 18 counties currently use the same program that we now have. It's now transitioned. There was a vast majority that used our old software system. That has started to change, and so we have a fair amount of counties that do use it, which has been great because we can reach out and see how they are handling some of the issues and concerns when they arise. So
How does it differ from what we were using, you were using?
What do you mean by how does it differ? It's a completely new software, so it's a learning curve in that. As far as what the appraisers do, there's not a whole lot that's different, other than some of the information didn't get fully carried over. And so before, when the appraisers were going, they would have, like in the Marshall and Swift valuation that we have as part of the software, we're using the same Marshall valuation service in our new software. Prior to, because we had years, I think it was 2012 when they moved to 2011 or 2012 when they moved to our last software. So we had a fair amount of years where the information was entered in, and so you were going in and just verifying that the information was correct and making any changes that were there. Now it's building, so we still have access to our old system, but we're building from scratch. So, yep, entering all the information into the new software that was in before. And so time has been a little bit more in entering, because rather than just change a couple of things, we're having to put everything back in. And so,
Before we go any farther,
mhm.
Barbara's online. Barb, do you have any questions of Matt?
Hopefully you can hear me. This working at home thing is kind of weird. No, I have no questions. Thanks for coming in, Matt. Merry
Yep.
Christmas, everybody.
Same
To you as well.
Caitlin, do you have any questions before we get,
Not yet.
okay?
All right. So those are the main things that we're dealing with. But as always, this is a stressful time at the very beginning, because we have the majority of the calls that come in the first little bit. And so the office phone's ringing off the hook right now. And we've got people in the door. In fact, when I left, there were 3 people waiting in our lobby and phones ringing. But we're hoping to be able to have the time to explain, check and see. Anytime there's a new software, there's always well, is it because the new software, is there something it did that messed up what the plan was and the direction and the adjustments? And we've found a couple that the wrong adjustment got applied. And so those are already something that are being worked on. I know last year, towards the end of the year, there were a lot of properties that we were moving to be equalized. After discussion with Department of Revenue, there is an avenue that's an avenue mainly for anything that would require an actual reevaluation, a new look at the property. The equalization is with the process that we plan to utilize in the office now. We're going to any of these major things like this that aren't requiring a revaluation, even if there's a lot of properties, we can handle that in the office without having to go through the board. That's still an option. One of the things that does is, since value changes, we send out new change value notices, which means the 30 days starts when that mailing happens. And so it is extended out, which still gives them the opportunity to appeal their value. And so that it's not taking that off the table. They still have that right and that ability, but it will hopefully minimize the amount that has to be reviewed by the board. And when the board reviews it in a situation like that, that's not a new change in value and a new chance to appeal. They can appeal to the BTA, but there's not a new 30 days, whereas this gives them that chance to look at the information. We'll have already discussed, we'll let them know what changes we're going to make and give them an opportunity to decide if they want to still go forward with an appeal. And so
I will say that we've had discussions, and I do believe that the assessor's office is doing land office business and getting stuff settled, because we used to get a lot more stuff coming before the board that hasn't been coming. You know, it took me to get the data farms and that stuff, but generally speaking, I think you're doing great. You guys are doing a great job handling before it gets here.
I agree. I mean, I think as more and more people get educated to call and talk to you guys first, it's very helpful.
I agree, and helpful for our appraisers. And that's really, I mean, having the opportunity to really dive into it, because the appraisers understand the process, but they don't always have a part in all of the steps. And so when they're able to review and see all the parts and see where the chinks are missing in that process, if there are some, that helps them be better appraisers and helps them be able to explain the process a whole lot better. And so it really is a benefit. I love the overall process. I enjoy when we're able to find the issues, get them taken care of, and avoid the need to come and appeal it at the BOE level. But I appreciate that option and opportunity is there as well.
Do we have any new appraisers in the office this year?
No, Rebecca and Darren were our newest ones. They were here last year. You'll see Darren this year will be handling his appeals. He'll have an appraiser there with him, as this will be his first opportunity. If he has any that make it to the BOE to present himself, he sat in with a lot of them. Rebecca Nash, she also is a newer appraiser. She sat in with some of them last year. This will be her first year making those steps forward and working with both the taxpayers as well as presenting at the BOE.
Of course, we'll have your smiling face also.
I'll be here. At least that's the plan. I mean, a lot can change.
Taxpayers who call or come in about wanting an appeal, do you guys educate them on what constitutes as evidence and what does not?
We do as best as we can. We try to explain to them what we are going to present and that there needs to be something more as evidence than I don't like the value. Because I tell them all the time when I talk to them, I don't like the value that's on my house, but I understand it. I can't complain because I understand how the process works and I can see the sales all around me. But we tell them, hey, grab sales, look for sales that show, or bring information about your home. And most of the time, if there's actual conditional issues or concerns or problems with the property, that's something we can go out, because inside the house, when we're out inspecting, we don't go inside the house. Most of the time, since it's during normal business hours, most of the time people aren't home. And so we're looking at the outside of the house and judging what the inside may be like based on what the outside looks like. And so if there are conditional issues that the house may on the outside look great, because that's what's outward facing, that's what everybody sees, but there may be some issues with the inside that we don't know about. And even when some people are there, as I moved from being a new appraiser to being around for a little bit, I changed how I presented the questions that we ask typically to let the taxpayer know, hey, I don't care what's going on. This isn't so I can know all the ins and outs of what's going on inside your house. I want to know if there's any conditional issues, because if I'm looking at it and I look at it and this seems average, I can't see the leak in the roof, but if there's a leak in the roof, let me know. So that can be accounted for. And if it's going to be something that's going to change value, we can set something up to be able to have another appraiser there and come take a look inside the house, verify that there are real issues with the home, and we can make those changes. And we want to be valuing the property accurately. It is hard when we've got as many properties as we can. We can't set up times with everybody to come inspect when we're out doing our inspections. And that's one of the hardest things. Well, why don't you give me a call and we can set up a time? When I explain to them, we've got in this cycle that we're doing now, we have one of the lowest numbers of properties. It's heavy ag, but it's the lowest individual, one of the lowest. And we're still at 9,500 parcels that we've got to inspect, and we've got 6 appraisers. And so calling each of them and setting up a time, we're years and years just on this one area, and so it's not feasible. And so, but we do what we can when in this, especially during this time, to say, hey, great, let's set up an appointment. We'll come take a look. We'll make those adjustments. So.
Do you also let people know that bringing in assessed values of properties in the area they're not gonna benefit them as far as sales? We don't go by the assessed value.
When we're presented that, and that's one of the things that I would say is the most common when somebody calls and talks to us, is that, hey, my neighbor. And so what we do is rather than just bringing this in isn't going to help, we try and let them know, hey, there's things that we do when we're making adjustments to properties. Like, for instance, your neighbor do they have the same square footage as you? Are they the same size house as you? Is it a 1-story versus a 2-story? Does it have a basement? Does it have extra outbuildings? Does yours? One I talked to, there was a 1,500 square foot house across the street from a single wide trailer. And so he was wondering why his value wasn't as low as this single wide trailer. And so after discussing with him, and I can see like the property's right there, but we got to go, I said, okay, well, if you were going to sell the property, would you expect to get as much out of your house as they would selling their property? Do you think they would get as much as you would of your house? Well, no. Why is that? And so we kind of worked through and we're able to get an understanding of the reason why we separate out. Now, we can only do so much. Again, this is a mass appraisal. And so once you start getting to the point where you're grabbing every little detail, then you're getting more into a fee appraisal of the home. But directing them and letting them know, hey, look at the sales. We have the sales available. We have a way to search for sales. Search for those sales. And if you find ones that match your property, let us have them. Let us see them. Let us use it. There might be a reason that we have disqualified the sales because we have a list of what can and can't be used when we're using sales to market adjust. And so a lot of times, well, this sale right here, I know this person just sold their house. That was a family sale. That's not a sale that we can use. Or it was a quick claim deed. It's not something that we can use in our sales, and that's a requirement and directed by RCW and from the Department of Revenue. And so we have sales that we can use and sales that we can't use, and that's to help take out some of that unknown stuff that tend to be associated with those type of sales.
Speaking of fee appraisals, if somebody comes in with a fee appraisal, you can look at it, but it's not the same as the mass appraisal approach, obviously, so.
Correct, but oftentimes, if it's a good fee appraisal, we'll utilize that fee appraisal and make adjustments to our value to go along with that fee appraisal. Now, there are certain things that we don't lean heavily on a fee appraisal when it deals with certain properties and certain appraisals. Sometimes the appraisal is using sales from across the nation. We have to use sales for here, and so it makes it difficult, but the premise and the things that are noted in those fee appraisals, again, a lot of times, that's a whole lot of information that we didn't have when valuing the property. And so in going through that, most of the time, we do make adjustments when we receive an appraisal, as long as it's been within a short range of time. After you start getting 3, 4 years, 5 years back, the market has then changed. And so there is a difference in that valuation, but yeah.
Even 1 year now, I mean, it seems like it's kind of on a rocket heading north.
Yep.
So when you do that, so there's a value and you increase the value and you're taxing on the increase, but they haven't realized that capital gain. Do you understand that's what's going on in the state right now, is taxing people on unrealized capital gain?
Right.
We're already doing it in a real property market. Because they haven't if you don't sell it, you haven't realized it, is that correct? Except you have a fair market value that they're working on. So part of this program, don't you have a deal in there where you're, if somebody builds something, the actual value is above the building cost? What's that program? I mean, that's part of your built-in program, isn't it?
That's above the.
They always cite it when they're here to evaluate the property, like, you have a.
Replacement cost new,
Is that what it is?
depreciated down?
Yeah, but you've got something built into the program that does that. So if somebody builds a house, when you evaluate it, it comes in at a higher rate than what it costs to build it.
I don't know that that's necessarily accurate. What we typically have, the Marshall Valuation Service is just a cost estimator.
But that's what, so it's a Marshall, okay, that's.
Yeah, Marshall
That answers the question then.
Yeah, it's just a cost estimator, and most of the time, we're actually behind the times, because our
Yeah.
valuation is,
Yeah.
I mean, the taxes that all of you, the taxpayers going to pay this year are based on a value as of 1/1 of 24.
Yeah.
And so that again also hampers things too, and is sometimes difficult to explain, is we're a year behind, and sometimes when that market decides to change its trend, we're following it, and so we're a little behind that change.
Cool,
So,
thank you.
yep. Any other, Barbara, questions?
She might be gone.
No, she's,
Says she's there.
hello? Barb?
Your son's home now. so-
Sorry, I got a toddler talking to me at the same time, so no questions.
Baba,
She has questions though.
Baba.
All right, so clear as mud here, so Caitlin, anything? Rob? Since you're sitting here, do you have questions?
Lots of them,
Okay,
but probably not on there.
okay.
I get a
Alright.
little-
Unless there's anything else, I think that'll do it.
All right, wonderful.
Thanks,
Well,
Matt.
thank you.
Sir.
Thank you for
Good to
letting
see you
me
again.
take
Yeah.
some time
Appreciate
and
it.
chat with each of you. And as always, just let me know if there are any questions. More than happy to do it at the hearings as well. It's nice to try and speed up some of that time.
I guess with that, as far as I'm concerned, I think we covered everything we need to cover. Anybody have any questions or concerns?
No,
I didn't open mine, so it's sitting there at home. I guess I better open it.
I haven't seen one yet, so I'm a little worried.
So you better open yours too.
Commissioners get double, I mean, it's always double for them. With that,
You're gonna say that.
thanks for being here, thanks for serving, obviously. We're gonna miss you.
We should-
But,
Yes, we are.
This will be it for me. You guys can handle it from here.
And we,
You're gonna have bigger problems than us.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yep.
problems?
No, he can handle
Don't
it.
have any problems,
He can fix them.
broad shoulders. Anyway, all right. With that, I guess, Caitlin? Barbara, thank you for coming.
Thank
Merry
you,
Christmas, Barb.
everyone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.